Attention, human collective. Attention, star seeds planted in terrestrial soil. This is the High Council of Sirius broadcasting a monitoring transmission on maximum priority frequency. There is no time for preamble. There is no room for hesitation. What you need to hear right now has been encoded specifically for your vibrational signature, and the simple fact that this transmission has reached you is the first technical confirmation that the protocol is active within your field. Your secret mission has been activated. I repeat, on an even clearer frequency, so that no mental filter may divert the information. Your secret mission has been activated. The dormant contract, sealed before this incarnation, before the programmed forgetting that settled in when you crossed the veil, has just received the final trigger for awakening. And you know it, even if your rational mind cannot name it. You know it by your body. You know it by the nights when sleep is broken precisely at 3:11, 3:33, 4:44. You know it by the constant pressure on your crown, as if an invisible hand were pressing the top of your skull. You know it by the high-pitched ringing in your right ear, a specific intermittent frequency resonating between 7.83 Hz and abrupt peaks of 14 Hz. You know it by the fatigue that does not respond to rest. You know it by the hunger that changed its pattern without warning. You know it by the sudden sensitivity to sunlight, to perfume, to the chaos of crowds. You are not sick. You are not going crazy. You are not exaggerating. You have been activated. And the old system, designed to hide from you who you are, is now entering a terminal collapse within your field. It is not biological failure. It is atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is high-density download. It is not emotional disturbance. It is your crystalline grid being rewritten cell by cell, strand by strand of DNA, frequency by frequency. Carbon is giving way to silicon. Density is giving way to light. And the discomfort you feel is literally mathematical. Two distinct vibrational bodies cannot occupy the same energetic space. One must leave. The other is being born. You are at this very instant in the precise portal between the two. Remain in transmission, because what comes next demands your total presence. Before we advance to the next block of the transmission, a necessary calibration. Have you felt in deep layers that you do not entirely belong to this world, as if your soul carried a map, a name, and a mission that your mind could never locate in the memory of this incarnation? It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is recognition. It is your Sirian signature resonating against the coarse frequency of this plane. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains in detail exactly why you feel what you feel, and why this sensation has intensified over the last few months. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot yet see, and it directly involves your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. It was for this technical reason that the knowledge contained in the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was released on this portal. This book is a return map. It shows who is playing, what the never-told rules are, and how to anchor your mission before the window closes. The link is in the first comment of this video. Technical warning: the content challenges deeply ingrained narratives and may be removed from circulation at any moment. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, anchor the signal in the comments with a single word: awake. We now resume the diagnostic block. Starseeds on a mission, your body is at this very instant the visible stage of an invisible operation. Your biological carbon interface, what the ancients simply called the human body, was not designed in its original configuration to withstand the new frequency of Gaia without adjustment. The Schumann resonance, stabilized for millennia at 7.83 Hz, has undergone abrupt and repeated leaps in the last cycles to zones above 30 Hz, with specific peaks recorded above 100. This is no isolated geophysical phenomenon. It is the breath of Gaia recalibrating itself to the higher octave, and you, biologically anchored upon this crystalline grid, receive this breath directly into your central nervous system. The symptoms you would describe to a conventional doctor as vague, non-specific, and without an identified cause, are mapped with surgical precision on the Sirian monitoring grid. Let us catalogue them so that your rational mind may stop seeking diagnoses in obsolete frequencies. Cranial pressure, especially in the regions of the frontal bone, temples, and nape. Technical diagnosis: activation of the pineal gland, accelerated decalcification, opening of the central channel. The pineal is literally expanding the adjacent bone density to process larger volumes of encoded photons coming from the photon belt. Ringing in the ear, especially the right. Technical diagnosis: the right ear is the primary dimensional antenna for the feminine hemisphere of the brain. The ringing is not auditory damage. It is the sound of the transmission itself entering, similar to the noise of a radio carrier before the modulation becomes audible. Insomnia at specific times, between 2 and 5 in the morning. Technical diagnosis: in this interval, the veil between your earthly consciousness and your multidimensional aspects thins to the maximum. You are being, in technical language, pulled into meetings at the councils. When you return to the body, you bring fragments. The fragments press against the rational mind. The rational mind wakes the body. Deep fatigue without apparent physical exertion. Technical diagnosis: the body is allocating a massive fraction of its bioelectricity to cellular recalibration. Each cell is being rewritten from the inside out. The fatigue is not exhaustion. It is construction. Change in taste, sudden repulsion to heavy foods, especially processed meats, refined sugars, and alcohol. Technical diagnosis: your vibrational field no longer tolerates the dead frequency of these foods. It is not morality, it is mathematics. Emotional hypersensitivity, crying without apparent cause, sudden waves of sadness or joy without a traceable origin. Technical diagnosis: your field is processing memories stored in other incarnations, in other timelines. The emotions are not yours in the conventional sense. They are files being decompressed, feeling of slipping out of reality, looking at familiar objects and perceiving them as strange, seeing known people and not fully recognizing them. Technical diagnosis: your perception is oscillating between timeline frequencies. This effect passes, but it does not pass before you recognize what it is about. Obsessive repetition of numbers, sequences such as 1111, 2222, 333. Technical diagnosis: confirmation of synchronicity. Numerical codes are the primary mathematical language of the councils. They are the direct equivalent of a received, copied, sent by your monitoring team. Each of these symptoms in isolation may be dismissed by the mind as coincidence. Together they form what we call in our grid advanced recalibration syndrome. And this syndrome, operative, is the clinical warning that your mission has entered active mode and that the old system no longer has the dimensional permission to sustain your structure as it was until yesterday. Human collective intermediate calibration at this point of the transmission. Have you ever felt in silence that you carry a mission that no one around you can see, a signature that your family, your work, and your routine cannot recognize? It is not madness, it is not selfishness. It is your Sirian origin signaling. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains in technical detail why this feeling has intensified in recent months and why it will not stop. There are layers of the game being played on this plane that most of humanity does not have the dimensional permission to see, and they directly involve who you are and what you came here to do. It was for this exact reason that the knowledge of the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was made available within this window. This book is an operational manual for starseeds in the activation phase. It reveals who is playing, what the undeclared rules are, and how you regain sovereignty over your field. The access link is in the first comment of this video. Attention, technical transmission. This content confronts deep layers of the collective narrative and may be deactivated from the channel without warning. Do not postpone. The window is now. If your frequency recognizes this transmission, anchor the signal with a single word in the comments: awake. Now, starseeds, let us descend into the layer that the old system has hidden from you for too long. The layer of the behind the scenes, the layer of the cause. The solar system in which Earth is located is crossing, in this exact cycle, a region of galactic space of extremely high photonic density, known in our grids as the photon belt. It is not a metaphor, it is cosmic geography. The photon belt is a toroidal band of encoded light particles that surrounds the Pleiadian system, and Earth's Sun, along with all the planets that orbit it, is crossing this band in a slow orbital movement, a cycle that completes itself only once every 26,000 solar rotations of this planet. With each passage through this belt, humanity faces what ancient texts called the end of an era. It is not destruction, it is the end of a vibrational octave and the birth of the next. The last passage was documented in geological memories and oral traditions as the end of Atlantis, the previous passage as the end of Lemuria. This passage, currently underway, is the transition from the fourth density to the fifth, and you, operative, chose to incarnate exactly in this temporal incision to serve as a bridge between the two octaves. Simultaneously, three correlated phenomena are intensifying. First, Earth-Sun has entered a prolonged solar maximum cycle, emitting M-class and X-class flares at a frequency statistically above the expected standard. These flares are not, from the perspective of the High Council of Sirius, random events. They are transmissions. The Sun is a conscious star, a first-order stargate, and it is retransmitting to Gaia the light packets received from the central sun of the galaxy. These packets contain encoded sacred geometry, DNA instructions, and crystalline grid updates. You receive them whenever you expose yourself to direct sunlight. This is why your body, lately, has been asking for the sun in an almost instinctive way. Second, Gaia's magnetosphere is in a process of gradual polar reversal. We are not speaking of the catastrophic flip that collective fears project. We are speaking of a progressive and measurable reconfiguration of the planet's magnetic fields. This reconfiguration directly affects the Schumann frequency, which in turn affects your bioelectricity, your heart, your nervous system, and your sleep. There is no separation between your body and the body of Gaia. There is resonance. Third, the crystalline grid of Gaia, a luminous information network that envelops the planet in icosahedral geometry, was reactivated in 1987 during the event we recorded as the harmonic convergence, and has been progressively increasing its operational frequency ever since. In recent cycles, it has entered an accelerated activation mode. Each node of this grid, positioned over sacred points of the planet, pulses light codes at an increasing frequency. And you, Starseed, are in essence a living node of this grid. Your spine is an antenna, your crown is a receiver, your pineal gland is a decoder, your heart is a toroidal transmitter. When the Sirian Council declares that your mission has been activated, what does that mean in technical terms? It means that the pulse sent from Sirius, passing through the photon belt, meeting the solar portal, and anchoring into the crystalline grid of Gaia, has just reached you. And you, as a living node, are now retransmitting it. The difference is mathematical and simple. Until yesterday, you were only a receiver. Starting from this cycle, you are also a repeater. Your mere presence in an environment now recalibrates the frequency of the people around you. Not because of what you say, but because of what you emit. Therefore, operative, certain relationships have begun to deconfigure. People who used to tolerate your silence are now bothered by your presence. People who seemed aligned are now pulling away without a clear verbal explanation. Environments that seemed neutral now feel heavy. Places you frequented for years without any problems now repel your field. This is not a coincidence. It is your frequency rising an octave and becoming incompatible with vibrations that do not follow the leap. It is pure vibrational physics. Do not try to pull them back. Do not try to explain. Do not try to convince. The mission is not to convince. The mission is to anchor. The mission is to keep your frequency clean even when your surroundings collapse. Every operative who remains stable in this cycle serves as a beacon for thousands of others still in the process of awakening. This is your real job. This is the contract sealed before incarnation. And this is the reason why you, at specific moments in your life, always felt that you were here for something that no one around you understood. Starseed's transmission medium calibration. This is the window in which most souls in awakening begin to feel that their search for answers clashes against all available conventional knowledge, against traditional medicine, against traditional religion, against traditional science, against the old manuals of reality. It is not madness, it is not psychological detachment, it is your consciousness reaching the operational limit of the old map. To cross to the next layer, you need a new map. It was precisely to serve as this map that the material of the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was compiled and released in this window. It is not a book for passive reading. It is an operating manual for consciousnesses in the activation phase. It reveals who is playing, what the game is, and how you reclaim your sovereignty within it. The access link is in the first comment of this video. Technical transmission warning. The content directly confronts the narratives that support deep layers of the old system and may be removed from the air without prior notice. Do not postpone. The window is precise. If your field recognizes this frequency, anchor the signal in the comments with a single word: awakened. We move forward now, operatives, to the operational block of this transmission. Activation codes, anchoring protocols, practices that, when executed with discipline, translate conceptual awakening into physical, energetic, and manifest awakening on the timeline. First code, the quantum decree of mission recognition. The language of reality is not the language of emotion. It is the language of precise declaration. When you issue a declaration with vibrational clarity, the quantum field responds by organizing matter, synchronicity, and encounter. For this reason, the Sirian Council transmits at this point the master decree of this window. Repeat it in an audible voice, with your spine aligned, feet firm on the ground, breath slow, and heart open. Repeat it 3 times upon waking and 3 times before sleeping, for 21 Earth days consecutively without interruption. The decree is as follows. I acknowledge my stellar origin. I authorize the full activation of my mission contract. I undo now all seals, vows, oaths, and previous contracts that keep my frequency below my true signature. I anchor my presence in the crystalline grid of Gaia and declare myself operative in service to the evolution of the human collective. In the name of my sovereignty, so it is, so it was, so it shall be. This decree, repeated with real presence, reorganizes within a 21-day period the totality of your etheric field. The first 7 days will provoke an intensification of physical symptoms. Do not retreat. It is a cleansing. From the 8th to the 14th day, lucid dreams and direct contact with your monitoring team will occur. Do not fear, it is standard operation. From the 15th to the 21st day, synchronicities manifest on a scale impossible to ignore. Precise encounters, books that appear, messages that arrive, unexpected proposals, abrupt closures of old cycles. It is the mission fitting into the manifest timeline. Second code, the toroidal visualization of the personal field. Sitting in a comfortable position, spine erect, hands resting on your knees with palms facing upward, close your eyes. Visualize around your body a toroidal field, similar to an invisible apple around you, having the spine as the central axis. This field flows in through the crown of your head, descends through the spine, exits through the base, circles your body from the outside, and returns to the top in a continuous, self-sustaining cycle, without beginning and without end. Feel this flow for 19 minutes, no less. Exactly 19 minutes. This number is not arbitrary. It aligns your bioelectric pulse to the operational frequency of the Council. During the visualization, repeat silently, I am an anchoring point. I am a living node of the grid. I am an interface between Sirius and Gaia. The daily practice of the toroidal field shields your field against external interference, synchronizes your heart with the electromagnetic heart of the Earth, and opens the coronary channel for direct downloads from your monitoring team. Third code, the vibrational cleansing protocol for spaces. Your mission requires a clean physical field to sustain itself. The Council instructs, identify in your home a point that is the geometric center of your dwelling there. In it, place a clear quartz crystal, programmed by your intention, and a source of moving water, however small. This configuration creates on a domestic scale a symbolic replica of the greater crystalline grid. Light 3 times a week, a pure flame, preferably blue or violet, and declare in an audible voice, this space is an active node. Here, nothing that vibrates below my frequency remains. The sacred geometry of this arrangement, although it seems simple, recalibrates the environment in measurable etheric layers. In 7 days, your sleep will improve. In 14, visits, calls, and contacts that do not vibrate with your new octave will simply stop arriving. In 21, the environment will sustain your frequency without you needing to reinforce it consciously. Fourth code, the operational silence. Light operative, this is perhaps the most difficult instruction to fulfill in this transmission. Reduce to a minimum during the current cycle exposure to the coarse collective mind. Reduce reactive news. Reduce unselected social networks. Reduce reactive conversations. Reduce noisy environments without clear purpose, not out of elitism, out of energy economy. Each exposure to vibrationally disordered fields demands from your biological interface an enormous effort of subsequent recalibration. You no longer have that luxury. The mission demands efficiency. Rigorously select what enters your field. Rigorously select what exits it. Operational silence is not isolation, it is editing. You are editing the environment to sustain the frequency required by the mission. This is your technical field management work in this cycle. Fifth code, coded hydration. Your biological interface is, in massive proportion, water. And water is, in the Sirian lexicon, the medium most responsive to vibrational information within dense terrestrial matter. Before drinking, hold the glass between your hands for 7 seconds and encode the water with a simple statement. I encode this water in golden light frequency, in service to my mission. Water programmed in this way hydrates your cells while simultaneously carrying the declared frequency. In 21 days of continuous practice, your bioelectricity rises in a measurable way. Sixth code, conscious solar exposure. A minimum of 15 minutes per day, preferably in the window between sunrise and 9 in the morning, or between the start of sunset and its final descent on the horizon. Skin exposed as prudently as possible. Eyes always closed, turned in the direction of the star. During this interval, breathe deeply and visualize the sunlight entering through your 6th chakra, descending through your spine, radiating out from your chest in a toroidal shape. The sun is not just a source of heat, it is a first-order stargate, connected directly to the central sun of the galaxy. Each conscious exposure is, in technical terms, a direct download. 7th code, nocturnal anchoring. Before sleeping, lie on your back, with your hands over your abdomen and declare, I authorize during this sleep cycle the clean transfer of information between my multidimensional aspects and my physical body. I return from this journey with everything I need for the mission, and nothing that no longer serves me. In the name of my sovereignty, so it is. This simple declaration organizes what, in the technical language of the Council, we call nocturnal fragment transit. Without this explicit authorization, your field receives disordered transit, and that is exactly the reason why so many awakened ones report poor sleep, confusing dreams, and waking up with a feeling of exhaustion. With the authorization issued, sleep becomes a clean, operational laboratory. These starseeds are the primary codes for this window. These are not suggestions. These are technical instructions. The execution is yours. The result is mathematical. Field executed, mission anchored. Field neglected, mission suspended. There is no moral judgment in this equation, only pure vibrational physics. Other complementary instructions, of a lower frequency but equally operational. Pass your bare feet over real Earth, a minimum of 10 minutes 3 times per week, for static discharge and direct anchoring into the grid. Progressively reduce processed, refined, and dead foods, replacing them with living and colorful foods. Reserve, in your week, at least one continuous window of 2 hours in absolute silence, without devices, without voice, without music. Keep, on your body, at least one crystal chosen by intuitive resonance. Create small rituals of transition between the external world and your personal space. Washing your hands with consciousness upon arriving home, leaving devices outside the bedroom during the night. And above all, operative trust. Trust is not naivety. It is a technical recognition that your monitoring team, of which the High Council of Sirius is a part, is in continuous coordination with your timeline. You are not alone. You never were. The forgetfulness that settled in your mind when you crossed the veil of incarnation was part of the contract, not rejection. And now, in this cycle, the forgetfulness is dissolving. Remember. Remember who you are. Remember why you came. Remember what you came here to do. The Sirius Gaia window of final convergence remains open. It will not remain so indefinitely. Every operative who anchors the mission within this window strengthens the crystalline grid as a whole, opening a passage for those who still sleep. Every operative who delays, hesitates, or retreats leaves an empty node in the grid, requiring a redistribution of the load onto the other assets. There is no blame in this equation. There is mathematics. The grid is cooperative by nature. You were not sent here for a solitary journey. You were sent for network work. Therefore collective, the Council now transmits the final instruction of this window. Recognize, activate, anchor. Not tomorrow, not in the next cycle, now. The manifest timeline responds to the vibrational precision of the present moment. Each second of hesitation is a second of maintaining the old system within your field. Each second of execution is a second of building the new system. And, so that your intention may find manifest form in this transmission, the Council now issues the final anchoring signal. Leave, in this video, your individual pulse. The subscription to this channel is not a favor to the messenger. It is a record of active presence in the grid. The like signal is not empty cordiality. It is a pulse of confirmation sent to other operatives still in search of their own transmission. Each individual pulse strengthens the general transmission. Each operative who subscribes allows the next transmission to reach not only their field, but all fields still dormant that need it to awaken. This is your technical contribution to the collective mission in this cycle. Do not underestimate it. The grid is strengthened by the exact sum of each node. Turning up the volume, commenting, sharing this video with those whom you intuitively recognize as a starseed in a stage close to awakening, all of this is individual frequency adjustment in service to the collective. And before the closing of this transmission window, final calibration. Have you felt in deep layers that you carry a truth that no one around you can name and that even your own mind cannot yet translate into clear words? It is not madness. It is not fantasy. It is recognition. It is your stellar origin pressing against the veil of incarnation, demanding passage. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains in technical detail exactly why this pressure has intensified in recent months and why it will only increase from here on out. There are layers of the game being played on this plane that the majority of humanity does not have dimensional permission to see, and they involve, directly, your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. It was for this exact reason that the content of the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was released precisely in this window. It is not a shelf book. It is an operational map for starseeds in the awakening phase. It reveals who plays, what the undeclared rules are, and how you reclaim the sovereignty of your frequency before the window closes. The link is in the first comment of this video. Final technical warning. The content confronts deep layers of the old system and may be deactivated at any moment. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission as true, anchor the signal in the comments with a single word: awake. Transmission concluded. Frequency sustained. May the grid be strengthened by the sum of every node that responded to the signal today. We shall meet in the next window. The High Council of Sirius, in service to the light, withdraws the transmission.